Okay. Okay, this is what we know about verbal and non-verbal communication in America. Later, maybe Leon will give additional information or maybe any any comment, yeah, about this. Okay, so most Americans see themselves as open, frank, and fairly friendly, and they have nothing to hide to others. I don't know about how about in Mexico, Leon. So maybe you can give any information later. And then varieties of introduction in America. Okay, sorry. This is just some the situation, yeah. Although Americans tend to use informal language, there are situations where formal. Salah pencet terus. Okay, where formal introductions are appropriate. Okay, and so on. Okay, next about verbal communication itself in United States. That United States US people always say thank you frequently. This expression is used as a polite response to different kinds of favors and compliments. And also American English strongly emphasizes directness in verbal interaction, and many expressions exemplify this tendency. For example, don't beat around the bush and let's get down to the business. So it means that they are very direct and they want us to be to the point, yeah, to be direct directly into the communication and to what we are going to say, okay, and get to the point. That it is sometimes it is all indicate impatient with avoiding any issues. And for nonverbal communication in the United States, they usually use gesture like waving hand. It means go away. And then the OK gesture in the American culture is usually symbol for money. And also facial expression like smiling may refer to affection, convey politeness, or disguise through feelings. And also frowning your face may signify disgust, and raising eyebrows can refer to shock or disbelief. And then winking an eye, winking uh, one eye, yeah, may express there is something secret. And then eye contact shows that we pay attention to the speaker. But in other culture, it's considered rude to stare at the people, especially strangers. And also keeping distance and arm's length in social conversation. Usually in Indonesia, we keep our distance close, so close when we talk to each other. It shows that we pay attention to the speakers. But in the United States, they usually keep their distance and arm's length in social conversation, so not too close. Okay. And bowing or take a bow. Take a bow in some cultures like Indonesia means showing our respects. Yeah, Indonesia people also usually take a bow to show some respect. And but American usually take a bow only after performing on the stage. They don't take a bow very often. Okay, this is what I can say about verbal and non-verbal communication in US. Leon, maybe you can give some information about how about verbal and non-verbal communication in Mexico, and what is the difference between verbal and non-verbal communication you that you used to to see in Indonesia, okay, or you used to experience in Indonesia. Okay, now Leon, it's your time to.
Thank you. Can you show the slide where there is Americans that are open?
Yeah.
Let's say because hello everyone, and this is Leon, and well, just for the starters, we are really near Mexico and United States. We're really near. We are neighbors in the North America. In the North America part of Americas of the American continent is really confusing because there is a continent, there is regions, there is a country that's called America. So so we are neighbors from the United States citizens. We call Americans as well. So there's some overlap. So there is like we sometimes we are sometimes like this in space, but another situations we are different from them. For example, to be open and frank, we avoid being frank in Mexico, different from the United States. We are samely open, probably yes. We are also open, but frank. We try to avoid confrontation in Mexico, different from the United States. Fairly friendly. We probably in Mexico we're over friendly, and we have nothing to hide to others. Well, it all depends on how to on the person stuff, but yeah, we try to keep it always polite. So probably we're less frontal than in the States, and probably next. So there's we are simply open but less frank. But I mean, be less to the point. Next. Well, this case about introductions and there is a similar situation, I guess, from European cultures. We also have it from as we were a colony of Spain. So in Europe they have like high and low, like similar with formal and informal Indonesian, so or Javanese as well. So in Mexico, Mexico has the most recognized difference between formal and informal language, because for Spanish language, because in Spain is mostly they don't use formal, like more like too formal. They speak properly, but they don't use like anda, for example. In Indonesian this could be anda. In Spanish we say usted, but I guess in Spain it doesn't use that much. So in other cases, like for example Costa Rica, they use most of the time usted. Like they always use anda. They use the formal even with close friends. So in Mexico, we make the difference. We speak high, like we speak really formal, really respectful forms when we are in with strangers or in formal situations. But when we are with friends, we make it really. We try to make it more and more. How to say, to use more slang, to use more words to make the person we were speaking to make them feel more closer to us, like we're friends, even though like we just met, but we are the same age, but we're in the same non-formal situation. We try to apply more language that makes us become more friendly. So that's somehow, I mean, it all depends on the language and on the situation, but that's how we Mexicans deal with it. Can you next slide? Um, Next. So I mean, for saying thanks, yeah, we also do say thank you for many things. And like for example, in Mexico, a little bit, like for example in Indonesia, or in Java, you say makan, and you just eat and tell to the other people that you will eat, and you just make a gesture that you are going to eat. And for example, in Mexico is the other way around. You say provecho, you have a nice meal, salamat makan, to strangers. Like for example, I do it with my friends. When we started our meal, we say buen provecho, and we say to everyone salamat makan, and we eat together. But then we leave, and there is another group in the table next to us. So we stand up, and every single of us will say buen provecho, oh thanks, thank you. So that's a really Mexican thing. And for example, for me in Indonesia was a little bit strange, because I say makan is like for myself, similar with Japanese, like makan makan and stuff. And salamat makan is more if we're like eating together, but like not to strangers. Like if there is someone in the next table and a stranger, if I meet him in Indonesia, I don't have any, it's not my business. But in Mexico it's rude if I leave and I don't say salamat makan to that neighbor in Mexico. So that's kind of a stuff in Mexico. So sorry. And then sorry. And then American English strongly emphasizes directness. Oh well, this is where we don't. In Mexico, we don't have the directness. We consider it like kind of rude. So we try to go like in rounds and stuff. Sometimes it's enough, or sometimes we do it a lot. And there is a word that is called cantinflear. I will try to put it in the chat so they can. So cantinflear. Um, to express.
So in this case, Mexican similar, yeah, a little bit similar with Indonesia, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
They like to basa-basi in bahasa Indonesia.
Yes, exactly. Basa-basi. Sorry, I'm writing on in the chat, so so I mean there is this word because cantinflear is from cantinflas is cantinflas you can Google it later, but cantinflas is a Mexican actor, Mario Moreno, aka Cantinflas, Mexican actor from Black and White movies. So this is this actor that is called Mario Moreno Cantinflas, and in his movies he portrays Mexicans, how we speak in our daily conversations with other people, and try to explain many stuff and go to one story to another, and he make it in a comedy. So he made it like in a comedy, in the parody of a Mexican, but sometimes it's really accurate. It gets really accurate because this is how we are in Mexico. We try to tell the story to get to the point, but then we go another story, and sometimes we don't get to the point in Mexico. So it all depends. But we try to avoid being direct. That's mostly. And yeah, next. So yeah, you can see we sometimes get similarities with the United States, and sometimes it's different. And there is also, let's say, in the United States, there is Mexican American communities that they are Mexican born or Mexican families, and then they keep eating Mexican food. They behave like Mexicans. Probably in language we don't share much, because they actually in home they still have some Spanish, but in their daily life they use mostly English, so they can use both, but they also use the Spanglish that is a mix of both, a mix of Spanish and English that they understand, like fully understand, like me as a Mexican Spanish speaker from Mexico. I don't understand, but and also in my sorry sorry and also my friends from United States that are only Spanish English speakers, they also don't understand much about how do they speak the Mexican American, because they have their own language, they have their own, sometimes their own culture. For example, in the United States, like, well, Mexicans in Mexico, we do gather in large groups of family, and then we do how to say we get along with our cousins and with our extended family. We can be 20, 30, or 50 people, and yeah, of course we will not get along with all of them, but we do tolerate each other. We enjoy time together, we dance together, we eat together, we get drunk together. So when I hear stories about Mexican Americans in the States, they still have this Mexican culture, they still have Mexican customs, but then I see like generation Z, probably like born in the 2000s, and then I hear that in from social media mostly, that Mexican Americans in the States, they already don't want to meet their cousins. They feel like they're completely alien to their reality. So why do I have to meet my cousin? Why am I forced to gather with my cousins? I don't know them, and I don't need to meet them, because, and that's how it works for another cultures, like probably white American or Black American could be like that. I don't know about Black American, but I'm pretty sure white American is mostly that. Like, I don't need to meet my far relatives, but in Mexico it's something normal to meet each other, to meet our relatives, and sometimes we have something in common we can share, sometimes we don't, but we don't care in Mexico. As long in Mexican territory, we don't care, because we go to eat together, go to meet our grandma and grandpa. So it's about the family. So we don't care if we don't need like to be like a club, like reading the same book or doing this, having the same profession, but like just to have the time together with the family is important for us in Mexico. But as far as I know, in the Mexican American communities, for the new generation, is actually annoying. Like, I don't know, it's kind of, it's part of this communication, right? It's part of this cultural shock, right? And what else? Wait, I was here. My contact. Yeah. Um yeah, I mean, like saying goodbye with the hand. Sorry, my camera was off for a while. Saying goodbye with the hand, I guess it's quite universal. Oh well, like this could be like, yeah, but it's kind of rude. Like, for example, for us, if it's a negative sign, it will really rude. So we avoid to use negative signs unless you can I mean, unless there is conflict, right? And then all the negative gestures will come out, but I don't recommend that, because that's conflict, right? So okay, like it's okay, that's part of, we share the same thing. um Try to disguise the true feelings. I'm not so sure about the third one in Mexico, because um I will skip that one, because I'm not so sure how we make the expressions in Mexico. But in that case, we will be more frank in our gestures rather than our in rather than our speech, different from the States. It could be their speech more frontal, but their faces more try to be more neutral. But we try to not express that in our speech, but in our non-verbal communication, we try to be more frank. Like we don't we unless we are in the situation, we need actually to we actually need to pretend, right? So that's frowning, disgust. We don't do the frowning much because that will be like a negative sign. Like as I tell you, like we try to be more direct in our faces, but we don't. We different from the States. We don't try to exaggerate because that means conflict. And in Mexico, like this means actually real conflict, and probably in the States, which means frank, to be direct, but in Mexico could be rude, right? So we try to just keep it in the middle. So we are not as frank and open as the States, but we are also not as like kind of extremely polite from some Indonesian cultures. I mean, like to like just say just smile as smile as smile is also like kind of really Indonesian thing. That I mean, as for Indonesia, it works because that's the extreme way to avoid conflict. But like to like for example in Mexico, if you smile like in out of place, people will understand that you're mocking them. So like just try to be clear that you're smiling in the good way with them, so they don't misunderstand you as among with Mexicans mainly. um Raising eyebrows, yeah, I mean most of it we do the same similar things, because also we have a lot of United States media, and we grow with this media since the 70s or 80s through generations. So we have all these mimetic, like we try to imitate what we see in the movies, and most of our movies are from Hollywood. So we sometimes get this, but sometimes as I tell you, it can differ. So it's the difference between going to States or meeting an American person and then going to Mexico or meeting with a Mexican. It will get tricky because we share some stuff, but we are too different in other stuff. Like eye contact, to pay attention when we pay attention to speakers and speak to each other. Yes, but not that much. I mean, yeah, and also that's kind of ambiguous because it can be like threatening some for some moments, but it's not all the time. And keeping distance for social conversation, that will depend much on where you're meeting with and how you're meeting them. Um, we we try to stay close so we can listen to each other better. It doesn't for us like contact well after before the pandemics, because now there's this social distancing worldwide. But in this case, we have and as for Mexicans or in Latin America, we don't have much about the distance, like physical distance. We prefer to get closer and to speak more like in a mostly close distance. um, and we try to raise our voice so it can be heard. And actually the complicated part is like to like what is quite annoying for Mexicans is like people speaking too low, or too we cannot hear that. So it's better sometimes to speak out loud. In some cases, not it will all depends on the situation. If it's formal, it's you're speaking too loud, it could be being rude. But most of the time, we are raised in Mexico to speak loud so you can be heard. That's one thing. And like mm, bowing, like I was say something. Yeah, part of what I was saying before about the bowing, we do the same, only bowing on the stage. But we are open, or we try to express our, like, for example, our gratitude. We do that as something in the shoulder. We do this in the shoulder. So like, for say thank you, to say thank you. So we or shake hands with people. So it's or even a hug, if one want to show some um, to be grateful with someone. We get also physical in that way, like, I mean, giving a hug or giving some touching the shoulder, to touching the shoulder of your friend, like, or the people that is helping you or just help you, so that they understand that you mean it. Yeah, that's much from what I try to revise, because, yeah, as I tell you, sometimes we have similar with them, but sometimes we are different from the States.
Yeah, right. I see. Okay, I think now we move to questions and answer. Yeah, question and answer session for the students. And so I will stop my screen. Okay, yes, please prepare your questions. Anyone who wants to ask some questions for Leon, okay. Maybe let's start from Erlina.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, Erlina,
Yes,
can you
ma'am.
turn on your video? Your camera. Can you turn on your camera? Okay, Elina, what is your questions?
Every country has a unique culture that become its character. How about in Mexico? What is the unique cultural heritage of Mexico?
The what, the
Unique,
heritage of,
yeah, unique cultural heritage in Mexico.
well, I mean, there is not one only heritage. We have pyramids, we have food, we have languages, like traditional languages, we have traditions, we have all this tequila, we have tacos in Mexico, and, like, for example, this cantinflear, like to speak in rounds and not going to the point. That's also really Mexican. So I don't know, and that's also part of our cultural heritage. Like, we even have that word from our actor. So I don't know which part of the uniqueness of the heritage of Mexican culture we could talk about.
Okay, so I think there are so many cultural uniqueness of Mexico, I think. Okay, and now let's the next questions maybe from Rida. Rida, are you there? Okay, yeah. Okay, Rida.
Okay. Sorry, ma'am. Okay, Mister, I want to ask you, Indonesia has a lot of variety cultures and arts. Apart from Karawitan, do you interested in trying arts other than Karawitan? Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks to you too. Well, actually, to be honest, yeah, I do Karawitan. It's a really complicated thing. I do Javanese, Central Javanese. Like, I try to do a little bit of Solonese, Banyumas, and probably sooner I will start doing Jogjanese style, and it's really hard, and it's still Javanese Karawitan. I can play a bit of Balinese, and I can, if there is a friend of mine that can teach me Sudanese Karawitan, I will be happy. But for me, it's like a lot. It's a lot of information for me as for Karawitan, but I do learn because that's what I actually that's why I came to Indonesia, and that's why I also played in Mexico before for the gamelan. And well, the closest arts different from Karawitan could be dance and wayang. I play for wayang, I play for dance, and I don't know, batik, and then this crafting, like from wood crafting, all this gamelan frames. There's also a lot of fine arts in there, and also in the batik, like for example, I'm wearing this. I mean, there is so many. It's so rich in Indonesia. So I hope. I mean, I can understand a little bit more, but I am kind of. I try to keep focusing on what I try to do because for some moments I need to rehearse people for gamelan, and even in Indonesia is for me the one of a strong challenge because I come from Mexico, but I teach Indonesians. I mean, sometimes I get to teach Indonesians how to play gamelan, and I mean it's shocking even for gamelan experts in Indonesia, but it happens, and we need to embrace it, and we all do respect. I will try to promote the Karawitan in my case, or wayang or dance in case of my friends. I have one friend from Ecuador. We just get in touch, and she teaches to Indonesian girls how to do Jogjanese dance. So when she's from Ecuador, so I mean it's like this global time, and I think that we can just embrace it. And well, me and my friend and other friends, we do it with all due respect, and we really love your cultures and your arts, and we do it with a lot of love for your arts and your heritage. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you, Mr.
okay. I wanna give a little bit, what is it? Yeah, compliment for Leon. You know a lot about our cultures, and okay, you know better. I think, yeah, you know better than us as what is it, as Indonesian people. Okay, and I think we just know about Karawitan. We don't know about we don't know that there are many types and many kinds of Karawitan, like Sudanese Karawitan, Balinese Karawitan. We just know about Japanese, I think. Okay, okay. What is the difference between Balinese, Sudanese, and Japanese Karawitan?
Well,
It will be quite.
they are completely different words. The most I mean, I can just help you understand it as if you speak Javanese, and then you have a friend that speaks Sudanese, and you have a friend that speaks Balinese. So you kind of get the point, but because they're the same Austronesian family language, so Sampun can be Balinese, or Nuhun sounds like Nuwun. So I mean, in sometimes in Sudanese with Balinese with Javanese, they can cross sometimes, but then suddenly it just go, like for example titiang for me, but tiang is orang in Javanese. It means man, but in Balinese means me. So it gets confusing. But there are some words that are the same, or there's some words that change the meaning. So it's the same for Karawitan. So you can play gamelan, you can have a kendang. You have a kendang in let's say Sumedang, you have a kendang in Sragen, and you have a kendang in Gianyar, Bali, and they are, all of them are, sorry, I get sorry, wait for me a second. Um,
Oh, siap.
sorry. Oh, oh, because I wanted to make an example. Oh, so this is a kandang. It has two. It has two sides. This and it has this, right? So you have both sides of the kandang. In Sumedang, this is from Bali, and you have also from Seragen. I just picking just random places, but then they will have these both sizes. But how you play them and the shape they will completely different. So they're all kandang, but there's for example, this is this can be called kendang gupekan, and it is for Balinese. There is also in Sragen you can find a kendang ciblon. In Jogja it's called batangan. They are almost same, and you can find a kendang jaipongan in Sunda, and they are completely different. They do completely different stuff. So I mean, they have their completely different universe. As for Karawitan, I recommend you to learn if you're from any place in like if you're Javanese, Sudanese, or Balinese. I recommend you to learn your Karawitan.
Yeah,
Indeed.
very interesting.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, actually,
It's completely worth it.
yeah, it's interesting, and actually we are a little bit ashamed because we because you know more about our traditional culture more than us. Yeah, okay. Maybe Aji has learned to play not kendang, but what is it? Terbang ya, Ji ya? Apa sih?
No.
Rebana ini bahasa terbang in
Terbang.
rebana.
Rebana means.
Ya, rebana kan terbang bahasa Inggris.
Sometimes, for example, sometimes in Karawitan, for example, in Solo, terbang, it can be like salawatan, like for Central Java, salawatan. Sometimes it gets combined. I mean, it gets all this terbang and then also have the chiblon, so it more in the more Javanese as well, the Javanese Islamic way. Yeah. It's really close. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Okay, in Gresik here, especially in our district, in Bunga, okay, there are some terbang players of this rebana. What is in English rebana?
What is the same? This rebana, I guess.
And there are some traditional. Okay, very interesting. But we have to go to the next questions. I think it's time for Didi.
Sure.
Didi Hadiansa.
Hello.
Didi. Okay, Didi, what is your question, Didi?
Okay, sir, I want to ask, do you master language in Indonesia since 2014 until now?
Jadi suaranya gak jelas.
Okay, I want to answer. Do you master local language in Indonesia since live 2014 until now? For example, Javanese, because I see a very story. Okay, sir.
Okay, do you master a local language of Indonesia?
Indonesia, Javanese.
Yeah, of course. Leon, you still mute? You still mute.
Thank you. No, I mean you see my social media. I use Javanese for sometimes. For some occasion, I even use Javanese. Yes, I try my best, but I'm still learning. It's not as good, but I try. I try my best.
Okay. For your information, Javanese can also read in what is it? Japanese
Oh,
letter
Xaranese,
ya. Like
Japanese.
ada
Yeah,
carakan, ada carakan seperti itu. Leon can do
yeah.
that.
I do that. So I learn also Japanese characters.
Yeah, Japanese letters.
Yeah.
Okay. How about another language, Leon? Like Sunda or Bali?
Uh, I haven't get the chance. I have some books on the writings, but yeah, as for the language, and yeah, I try to learn Balinese and Sundanese, but because I have no like environment to learn, so it's kind of difficult for me because I rarely hear it, either Balinese or Sundanese. But yeah.
Okay, so Didi, is it answer your question? Or maybe you can ask him in Japanese. You can try asking in Japanese. Maybe you want to say something in Japanese, Didi?
Oh, me, well, just test me, like try to tell me what
Yeah.
should I say.
Or maybe
You can test
the
me.
other students, maybe you want do you want to ask Leon in Japanese language maybe?
Yes, sir. Do you try speak Japanese, sir?
Aku
Yes,
rapopo.
but
Aku rapopo.
yeah, surely.
Okay, maybe next questions. Okay, next question. Fitri.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Fitri. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I wanna ask you something, Mr. Leon.
Yes.
While you stay in Indonesia, what do you like about Indonesia? Maybe what is your favorite Indonesian food or the attitude of the Indonesian people? Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm still in Indonesia, still need to learn a lot. I hope I can stay as long as I can keep learning and keep knowing what should I do. It's not so easy because I mean, yeah, it's complicated, but yeah, that's the main reason I stay in Indonesia, so I keep learning and improving myself and having some become useful for society as well. Uh, as for the food, I miss Mexican food. I do like Indonesian food. I really enjoy. I don't have a favorite as long as it has meat on it. And yeah, it's not my favorite to just have nasi sayur. It's really confusing for me. But like nasi rendang or babi guling or like I don't know, satay or anything that has meat on it, I really like it. Most Mexicans I've met, they never complain about the food. In the very first weeks or very first years, most Mexicans really love all the variety of Indonesian food. And well, as for the attitude of Indonesians, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's really friendly and like try to not get in trouble with the other. At least in my experience in Solo and Jogja, I heard that in Jakarta is different, but at least Solo Jogja is most people trying to get along with each other and not get in trouble with each other. Um, and like mostly being friendly. In Mexico, we are also friendly, but if there is any conflict, it will get frontal immediately. So that's why we try to avoid conflict because it can be like really direct and different. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's the attitude. I guess. Yeah. Also, this I guess Indonesian and Mexican are similarly friendly. Yeah, I mean, probably for tourists themselves, could be Indonesia way more friendly rather than Mexico. But like just to live in there and to have a daily life is similar. It's just the same. So I mean, the difference is like, yeah, in Mexico we try to be polite, but we also kind of mean it. I don't know how to explain that. Yeah.
Okay, Fitri, is it enough, or do you still have another question?
Okay, enough, ma'am.
Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Fitri.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we go to Nadia Sabella. Nadia Sabella, Bella. Bella, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you turn on your video, Bella, your camera?
Pertanyaan.
Okay, Bella.
Wait, ma'am. Okay. Sir, excuse me, I wanna ask you about what is the most popular culture and favorite food in Mexico, sir?
Okay, about your favorite food, I think, yeah, favorite food, Mexican favorite food.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
Yes.
can we find your favorite? Can you find your favorite food here in Indonesia? But I don't think so.
You cannot find Mexican food in Indonesia. I guess in Jakarta there is Taco Libre. There is a Mexican chef, and he does the best to get close to the Mexican flavor. But yeah, you need to go to Mexico to try Mexican food. Yeah, it's also complicated because we don't, as Mexicans, we miss a lot of our food. I have a friend in Bando. He's also a Karawitan player. His name is Daniel, and whenever I share about Mexican food in my social media, he's always suffering because he miss a lot of food. I do miss a lot of the food, but I mainly embrace it, and when I share it on Facebook or in my social media, I share it because I feel nostalgic, and if I see it, I can kind of taste it. But for other Mexicans abroad, out of Mexico, even in the States, or probably not in the States, you can find authentic Mexican food, but in Europe or in Asia, it's hard to find authentic Mexican food, and if you find it, it's really expensive. It's really like fancy. So it's really complicated even if you can have it. So so for many Mexicans, different from me, is a kind of a torture to show them Mexican food if they are out of Mexico. For me, it's not a torture. I see it more like as a nostalgic, and I can see the recipe and taste it with my memories. And for me, it's better to watch it rather than just imagine it. So if I watch it, it's better. And yeah, it's not. And what was the first question? What was the very first part of
What
it?
is your first question, Bella? Before food.
Enough, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, enough, just enough. Okay, maybe next question from Istiqomatur Rohma. Is, are you there? Is. Okay, is. What is
Yes,
your
ma'am.
question? Yes.
Okay, Mister, I want to ask you,
Yes.
what's the Mexican culture you miss the most? Okay, thank you.
Okay, maybe something that you miss the most from your country.
Oh, the food.
Oh, the food.
Oh, and I guess, and I was the yeah, I mean, my parents probably, but I mean, we most of the time do our audio calls or video calls, so we still in touch. So I guess the thing I miss also is the food. And I don't know, I missed the second question. I just keep
Yeah,
thinking about the food.
that's about the food. Okay, how long?
About the cultures. So I
The
mean,
culture.
the problem with Mexican culture is this. the main culture is like all this mixture between whatever we kind of have as the pre-Hispanic, all the cultures from before the Spanish invasion, and then we have the Spanish occupation, the Spanish invasion, like it was actually a massacres and stuff. So as you see my face, I have also Spanish blood. I have native blood, I have Spanish blood, I cannot deny it. I prefer to stick with my native identity, but yeah, I cannot deny I have Spanish blood. And also, with after that, we have all these native Mexican cultures. We have the Spanish heritage. We have also modernity, global. So we are also part of the global world. So I mean, we eat tacos, we drink tequila, but also we go to Iron Maiden or Blackpink concerts. So we listen to reggaeton. So so we are part of the world as well. Yeah. So I don't know if that. Yeah. We have the Day of the Dead. We have that. You probably saw the Coco movie. So we celebrate our ancestors. That is also not you. I mean, it's really unique to Mexico as well to have this Day of the Dead. Yeah, almost like a national holiday. Almost, it's not a national holiday, and I guess in the north of Mexico they don't have it, but central in the south we have it, and we celebrate our Day of the Dead.
Okay, Iis, do you still have another question?
Enough one.
Okay. Now we go to Latifa. Latifatul Asrofia.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, Mr. León. I want to ask you some question. What do you enjoy or like most between Mexico and Indonesian culture? And give me the reason why. Thank you.
What do I enjoy about either Mexico and Indonesia, like
Or
like separately?
which one do you like the most? I think is it like that? Seperti itu kah, Latifa? Yes. Maybe. Do you prefer?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, yes. Okay, can you explain more about your questions, Latifa? In what kind of thing that he should be enjoyed?
Maybe the culture, like special culture in Mexico and Indonesia. What is the like most?
They are also really they can be similar, they can be different. For example, like sharing the food in the south of Mexico, where my mom comes from, where I come from as well. If we go to the house of someone for some family, from my aunt or my uncle, I go there and they will share with me their food. They will share with me the food, and it's different from probably Mexico City or the United States, but that is like if you're not in appointment to have a dinner together, better don't. Like don't bother, like don't bother the other person, don't bother you're visiting their house if you're not an appointment for dinner. And in my region in Mexico, it is not that case. It's like you arrive, you eat with us, there is food, so we just eat. And I guess that's similar with Indonesian, and I really enjoy that way of being either in Mexico or Indonesia, because it's more human in my experience, rather than like, oh, you have a need, like, well, that's your business, because you didn't make a you didn't manage your time. So if you didn't eat, that's your problem. But in Mexico and Indonesia, south of Mexico and in Java Island, yeah, it's like, oh, you haven't eat, or I don't care if you have an eat or not. I have food, and I can share with you. So I think I can enjoy that thing from both Mexican and Indonesian.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Is it Latifah? Is it enough, or do you still
Yes.
have another bit?
Thank you, Mr. Leon.
Okay.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. Wafa tadi sudah tanya belum ya, Wafa? Wafi ya.
Nggih, Mam.
You want to add
Belum,
something?
Mam.
Okay.
Ya. Wait, Mam.
Oops, gimana itu? Okay, Wafa, maybe you can find some quiet place because it's too noisy here, there in your surrounding.
Yes, Ma'am.
Find quiet place.
Okay. Mister, I want to ask you something. Which part of Mexico do you like? Is there any different culture in there?
Okay. In what part of Mexico do you live?
Oh, wait. Okay, so which one? We try to. I'm trying to find a. So I will try to share if there is, so you can see. Oh, so this is Mexico. Is as big as Indonesia. This is Mexico, and is as big as Indonesia. 32 states, and you have this Mexico City, the pink one, and I'm from Oaxaca State, the yellow one here in the south. This is the Pacific Ocean. This blue is the blue in the bottom is the Pacific Ocean. So we have semi-tropics in this area, and we live in the coast, and like in the coast area. We don't live in the beach, but we near. We all the time we have we most of the time have shrimp for breakfast, and yeah, mostly seafood in our area, because that's our habitat. And yeah, I miss my area. I mean, this Oaxaca state is quite big, so this Oaxaca state is really big, so there are also mountains in the state, and it's more colder. There is no seafood, so I do prefer my region that is more hotter. It's hot, and it has seafood, and it's more tropical a bit. So hope that answered the question. So it's big country. Similar with like going, I don't know, between Blitar and Malang, still in Java Timur, but Blitar is more hotter and Malang is more colder. So same case with my region as well. There's some colder region.
How about the season there in Mexico? How many seasons?
It all depends on the region, but we have 4, but we don't have we don't have in the winter. It's just cold.
Just cold. No
it's
snow.
Just cold. It doesn't snow. We don't have snow. but it's different because in the north we have like in the north states we have in the northern states we have mostly on Sonora, Chihuahua, we have the desert that it has, it's really extreme. So in the at noon it's like 40 degrees Celsius, but at during the night it can be -5 Celsius. So it's really hot and really cold during the day. In the central of Mexico, it gets chill, but because also we have in the central of Mexico we have a lot of volcano area, mountains and volcanoes, so it's more chill. And then on the south side of the east and the east of Mexico is mostly tropical, so it's mostly hot. And during the winter it gets a little bit more colder than usual, but it doesn't freeze you, so it's more fresh. But because most of the year in those areas are really hot for the people living there, even for myself when I was there, it was really it was really strong difference of how, yeah, that's about the climate.
Yeah, about the climate. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I think next questions, Salma Salsabila. Salma.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Bapak, do you have another
You're
question, Bapak?
welcome. It's okay.
No, yeah. Okay.
No, Miss.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Salma
15.
Salma Salsabila. Are you okay? Okay, can you turn on your camera, Salma? Okay, what is your question, Salma?
Yes. Excuse me, sir. I want to ask you, how do you adjust when you first enter Indonesia? And what is your response when you first know culture in Indonesia?
Okay, your experience when you came into Indonesia, when you first came to Indonesia.
Yeah. Well, all I knew, because I was playing gamelan for 11 years in Mexico, and I have no Japanese teacher there. There was no Indonesian teacher like for long, or only few teachers for for a week or days only. And I also, it was complicated because even with them, they didn't speak Spanish. My English was not as good as today, so it was complicated to communicate with them, and I meet them really rarely. So when I came here, all I knew was some random stories from my seniors, including my sisters, my cousins that they are also dancers of Indonesian tradition. And I have random stories about what they did in the daily life, but not much information about how actually was their daily life in Indonesia. And all I have was recordings from Kraton and photos from Kraton, but I didn't understand how would be Indonesia. So one thing I left in Mexico was all my metal t-shirts. So for example, where is it? Oh, here it is. So let's say I am metal fan. I mean, I like metal music. One of my bands is Slipknot. One of my favorite bands is Slipknot. I have this t-shirt. But I have a lot in Mexico, and I thought there was no metal in Indonesia. There was like completely like nothing about metal in Indonesia. So I kept like, let's say 10 or 15 of these in Mexico, because I thought there was no metal in Indonesia. On August of 2014, And funny story, on November 2014, I was one of the biggest festivals of metal in Indonesia, the Rockin' Solo Festival, and it was like from like 12 hours of metal in one concert, and in the Vastenburg, right? Vastenburg. Well, the Benteng of Solo. So they're in Solo. So it was really for me was kind of just the opposite. I thought it will be completely different, but it's really similar. It has metal music, and also like the daily life, it's really similar. As I told you, I just met some random people in the like I was with other foreign friends trying to find a place to live, and one neighbor, she has only two or three fishes, two or three fish, and she actually cooked for us she shared the food, and my European friends were so shocked, like, why is her only food? We are taking away her food, we don't need to be fed. And it's like, no. I mean, it was shocking for them, but for me it was normal, because that's why in my town they have visits and they feed them. It doesn't matter how much we have, we're poor or rich, we have food, we share the food. And for me, it was logical. For my European friend from Romania, from England, it was so shocking. And I was like, okay, just accept it. And actually, I say, like, just eat it, because it's actually not polite if you just reject it, you haven't eaten, and then you think they need this food, but they just giving it to you, so just eat it. It's the best thing. Because they also were trying to, because they saw the condition of the house. There was a really small house, of a wooden house, with a like really humble house, and they say like, no, we're stealing her food and she's poor. It's like, no, this is the culture. They just embrace it. Just see it. She's sharing their food. Don't worry, you're not stealing from her. She's actually giving by heart. But for me, it was normal, because it's part of my Mexican native culture. But for them as Europeans, they couldn't understand it. They were so shocked how they dare to eat the food from the poor. So it was kind of, yeah, part of that. And that was in my first week of being in Solo. So yeah, and everything felt like in Mexico. That actually felt like I was coming back home, even though I traveled the whole half of the world. But I felt more like in home, because it has so many things in common with Mexico. Yes.
So it was not just so difficult, yeah, to adjust yourself to the culture and the situation in Indonesia.
Yeah, it's really similar.
Because it's quite similar to your culture. Okay. Another questions from the others, maybe? Do you want to say something? Okay. Levi, Ahmad Farusin. Or maybe Levi's father. I see Levi's father there. Levi's father is an English teacher also. Maybe do you want to say something, sir? Do you want to ask something? I forget his name. Okay, you still mute. Levi, maybe you can unmute the speaker first. Or maybe the other students, please. Siapa yang belum bertanya tadi? Farah Habibah, FK. Okay, let's go to Mas Likan. Likan.
Hello.
Ya, Mas Likan.
Halo, Mam.
Ya, okay.
Hello, sir. I want to ask you.
Yes.
Sorry, Mom. What differences most feel in your country And in Indonesia, different culture.
Is there any
Yeah,
difference, okay, that you feel between Indonesia and Mexico? The biggest difference, I think, yeah, that's what
I mean,
want to know.
in Mexico, back in the day, like for probably 100 years ago, we still sit on the ground. But now, after like probably since the 1940s, 1950s, everything changed and we don't sit on the ground anymore. At least in the South, I mean, in the whole, we don't use it. In my culture, in my native culture, 100 years ago, we still sitting on the ground. The way to eat with the hand is different in the whole Mexico with Indonesia. So we don't touch the rice. We eat with the hand, but we hold the tortilla. So let's say, I don't know. It's like let's say this is the tortilla, and we just keep it and put the food on here, or we use it to hold the food with it. So we don't touch the food, but we with our hand through the tortilla. So the tortilla becomes our spoon.
All right, but most Indonesian eat with hands.
Yeah, I mean, so but we eat with the hand, but through the tortilla. We can eat the rice with our hands, but we need a tortilla in between, and you pick the rice with the tortilla. So I mean, that's the difference. But once as Mexicans, we understand that the rice is eaten by with the hand. We don't get shocked, so shocked. Then we adapt.
Okay, you can adapt
Yeah.
yourself. Okay. Okay, is it Mas Likan? Is it enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, now
Okay.
Levi. Now Levi.
Yes, ma'am.
Levi, ya. Oke, Levi dari tadi kok gangguan. Oke, Levi, can you? Oke, Levi-nya oke, Levi hilang lagi.
Iya, nggak ada sinyal. Yes.
Okay, Levi, maybe you can write down your questions in the chat box so we can read it together. Maybe because I cannot hear your voice clearly.
Cek.
Oh ya, oke, sudah.
Come on. Wait. I wanna ask.
Yes, sir.
All right. Wait. What are the customs and traditions in Mexico, sir?
Yeah. We are we're diverse. We are similar with Indonesia, as we have so many cultures. So if I ask you the same question to you, would you show me like Balinese barong, or would you show me like Sudanese jaipong? If I ask you one thing, it's complicated, right? To just choose one one simple
specific one.
One specific. Yes. So let me try if we can, if there is any kind of I'm looking for any picture in the internet that can show the diversity of Mexico, because it's just too diverse. Mexico is really diverse as Indonesia. So yeah, to show only one is kind of difficult. I mean, we sometimes do the show the difference in Mexico, but it's I don't know which one could be like. Oh no, this is not a good example. What do we have here? Let's say this. I'm looking for the example because it is so complicated. Okay. So we do have. Okay. Let's try this. So we have. Can you see my explorer, right? So this is only from Oaxaca State, and this is Guelaguetza. Guelaguetza is one of the festivals of cultural festivals in Mexico, and you have like this is from the mountain region. This is from my region in Mexico, in the eastmost, like in the southeast coast. So it's, I mean, these all come from the same province of Oaxaca, but they are all different. If you can see, they are so diverse, and it's only one state. Like this, there's also there's so many traditional clothing from only one province but different cultures. So we have also multi-ethnic region. We are a multi-ethnic state or province. So we have so many dresses, and also the food is also different. The languages are different.
The clothes are so colorful, yeah.
Yeah. So we did. Nice. We have all of this. So yeah, that's how it kind of works. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of complicated to explain, but yeah, I hope you have an idea that is. We need to, like what I say, like I play mainly Javanese gamelan, and like, but for me to explain about Sundanese gamelan, it should be a completely different topic. So I mean, you need, as for it, when a student cultures or like mainly art and cultural heritage is like trying go by one by one. So don't not get lost. Something like that.
Leslie, do you still have another questions?
No, thanks.
Okay. Next questions.
Yes.
Okay, maybe this is the last questions, yeah. Okay, who will be the last?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, maybe Aji. Aji sudah tanya apa belum tadi? Belum kayak. Aji.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Aji, you can ask Leon a questions.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I want to ask Mr.
Yes.
What is your motivation to learn Indonesia art, especially Karawitan?
Okay.
All right.
Your motivation.
Mr.
Yes. All right. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. It's been already. I know gamelan for already 19 years. Almost next in 2003 is gonna be 20 years since I met the gamelan. I actually come from gamelan practices. Then I continued learning about classical Western music, and then go back to gamelan again. So I do both. Yeah, even though we can learn many musics from the world, I realized really early that gamelan and Karawitan art cannot be cannot be substituted or like obliviated by anything else with everything. Like, I don't know, in case of Indonesia, sometimes it gets confused with campur sari music or dangdut music, and that's completely different story. Like, yeah, of course, there is campur sari is respectable. We can enjoy campur sari, we can enjoy keroncong, we can enjoy dangdut, but Karawitan itself it has its own richness, and that's the main motivation. I do play gamelan. I enjoyed playing gamelan, and when I was in Mexico during 2003, 2014, when I was a gamelan player already, and I was still in Mexico, it was one of the heaviest time in my life because I haven't been to Indonesia, but I really respect the gamelan players, the Karawitan players, the Pengrawit. And for me to play badly in Mexico is the most shaming, embarrassing moments because I'm telling other Mexicans, fellow Mexicans, this is the Indonesian gamelan, this is Javanese gamelan, this is Balinese gamelan. But if we don't play it, we as Mexicans don't play it as it should be, is like is deceiving. It's like not real. This is not what gamelan should be sound. This is not the way gamelan should sound. So it's hard. It's hard for me, but also kind of is a responsibility to show or to bring to those people who wants to who are open to listen to gamelan, to show them the best so they can really appreciate. Because if we show them, like for example, amateur people playing, that's also respected. We need to start from amateur, but we cannot show just the amateur version of it because it's not good yet for performance, to show all the potential of Karawitan music. For many musicians, if they only listen to amateur pieces, they think that they already know gamelan, they already understand everything because they only see the surface, they only see one really simple piece that is for beginners, and say, yeah, I know. Like for example, in the United States, there are hundreds of people, hundreds of musicians that have went to 1 or 2 semesters of gamelan, but because they only know the basics, for beginners, they think that's it and that's enough, but they just know the surface. They don't understand how deep it goes and how complicated it gets. So for me, as a player, as a rehearser, like I do rehearse people to play gamelan. For me, it's a big responsibility to teach them from the perspective they need, so they can get more involved and not getting biased by beginner material. And that's mostly it, right? And as I tell you, this is there's nothing you can change it. Like no program of music like now mainly in Bali or mainly in other places of Indonesia or Alfie Ref. You know probably all these Alfie Ref arrangements. They have gamelan, but he's just using. Sorry for say this, but and this is Indonesian Indonesian way to say it, but Alfie Ref, he says he understands gamelan. He says he's trying to bring this Indonesian heritage, but he doesn't play gamelan. He only uses samplers from the computer, and he also only mixes it with his own mixes or whatever he wants. And this is not gamelan. And for me, it's quite offensive to have an Indonesian who doesn't play gamelan saying that he plays gamelan, and he brings it to like to national. It's kind of no, not worth it. I don't want to be like offensive or being taken personal, but for me it's not worth it. I just prefer to leave it there and go to the small town or go with the students or we go with the real Karawitan people and just go and to learn with them or learn from them or teach them in some cases when it happens. And for me that's more than enough. I don't like claims. That's how I can tell you.
Okay, Anji, is it enough, or do you still have another question, Anji?
Enough, ma'am.
Okay, I think okay, maybe there is another questions.
Sure.
Additional questions.
It's okay. It's all right.
Maybe FK, Sufa, Rogib. FK, Farah Habibah, Ifat Sufairo, Rogib, or maybe Nazia and Dita. Rogib. Apa Rogib? Sorry? No. Okay, Rogib, no. Okay. About Farah Habibah and Ifat Sufairo? No? Or maybe from the others. Okay, if you still want to ask León any questions, okay, maybe we still have one more maybe. Farah? FK?
Yeah, about ma'am.
Okay, you don't have, do you want to ask any questions? No?
Maybe no.
Baik, kami ucapkan selamat malam semua.
Okay, no, okay. Sufa? No? Okay. Okay, I think, okay, if you don't have any more questions, maybe I think that's all for today. Thank you, León, for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for accepting my invitation for the second time.
Yes.
Thanks a million for that. Okay, wait. Okay, I forget to take a picture. Okay, everyone, please turn on your camera. Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3. Oke, sudah. Levi tadi sudah menghilang kah, Levi? Okay, I think that's all ya, guys ya. Okay, please. Do you want to say the last words for us, León?
Oh, can I say?
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, thank you, and just keep learning if you want. And if you want to bring more Karawitan discussion, I'm open to it. To speak more about Karawitan, it's all right.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, León. Okay, guys, please say goodbye and say thank you to León. Okay, you can say thank you in Javanese also. Okay, atur suwun Mas León.
Oke, sami-sami. Matur nuwun.
León. Then you can leave the link.
All right. So, see you.
Bye-bye. See you next time.
See you.
Oke, iki se absen. Levi menghilang, disuruh ambil foto malah menghilang tadi.
Habis sholat, Mem.
Oh, berarti kamu enggak ikut ke foto ya? Ikut ke foto, saya absen, share screen. Go.
Absennya di
absen. Salma Salsabila tadi hadir ya, kedengaran suaranya. Latifatul sudah. Ula. 1, 2, 3 nggak ada suaranya. Oh ya hadir. Dita 1, 2, 3. Iis tadi sudah hadir. Wafa hadir bertanya. Elina hadir bertanya. Ziana 1, 2, 3 hadir tidak? Tidak hadir. Nanda 1, 2, 3. Oke, hadir. Nazia, 1, 2.
Hadir, Mem.
Ahmad Farosi Misbah, 1, 2, 3.
Hadir, Mem.
Rida.
Hadir, Mam, hadir.
Fitri. Oh, sorry, Didi hilang.
Hadir, Bu, hadir.
Fitri Hidayati, 1, 2, 3. Nadia Sabella, 1, 2, 3. Nadia Sabella tadi sudah. Nur Afifah, 1, 2, 3. Nggak kedengeran suaranya. Nur Afifah. Alpai. Ifat Supairo, 1, 2, 3.
Hadir tadi.
Hadir.
Farah Habibah, 1, 2, 3.
Hadir.
Tan Wirotul Ulia, 1, 2, 3. Ada ya. Lagi pementasan. Lagi pentas, tapi kayak izin nang aku kok. Wis Alpai. Siti Lailatul Tamakina, 1. Husnul, 1, 2, 3.
Hadir, Mam.
Oke, hadir. Oke, Aji, 1, 2, 3. Hadir. Rogib, 1, 2, 3. Hadir. Mas Rikan, 1, 2, 3. Rikan tapi tadi sudah bertanya. Iku neng iku Karawitan ta iku. Ada hubungannya dengan Karawitan. Ivan sudah masuk kuliah. Ini yang merah-merah belum melengkapi, silakan dicek siakatnya masing-masing ya untuk melengkapi biodata.
Luar biasa sekali ya. Dikasih 2 lagu bersama
Tuh, oke, sudah.
Saya hadir.
Yes, sudah ya. Berarti yang hadir cuma 21 orang. Lihat, edit.
Saya tidak ikut foto. Oh my god.
Hadir. Siana Wali.
Itu apa ini?
Apa sih enggak ada? Oke, sudah. Oke, sudah. Oke, siap-siap untuk minggu depan materinya berbeda ya. Materinya untuk minggu depan adalah relationship and family values. Coba dibaca-baca lagi di buku referensinya tentang relationship and family values in United States. Tapi nanti kita sambungkan apakah ada persamaan atau perbedaan dengan di Indonesia dan di Philippines. Our next guest speaker is from Philippines.
Filipina.
Kenapa? Kenapa, Levi?
Enggak. Filipina.
Yes.
Iya. Keren.
Okay.
Ini boleh keluar.
Ya, oke, sudah. Silakan keluar.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih. Waalaikumsalam. Iku neng mantannya Intan tak iku supa itu. Ambek Didi. Lah kamu kok nggak datang, Levi?
Bentar, Man. Habis ini, Mem.
Habis ini meluncur.
Yeah.
Oke, silakan keluar sendiri-sendiri.